as you have observed in the last, about 1 hour ago, some comments have been made for the first time by a presidential candidate. A presidential candidate. That's candidate John Mahama of the NDC. And the comments that he has just made and thrown out into the public domain at this stage in the election process have the tendency to do a number of things, to endanger public safety, to raise tensions, and even to undermine the sanctity of the ongoing process. And so the government of Ghana believes it's important to make some comments as a government, and that's why we've disturbed your evening. I'm sure you'd have been doing your coverage and doing your analysis in your studios by now. I just want to recap a few of the key comments that candidate Mahama has made this evening, which the government of Ghana believes that he needs to respond to. The first is that, as I mentioned earlier, for the first time, a candidate, a presidential candidate, is claiming that his party has gained what he describes as parliamentary majority. And then they go into some discussion about electing the speaker and a few other things, but that's a different conversation. But the point is that we have a candidate, a presidential candidate, who is now publicly making the comment that his party has secured a parliamentary majority. He's also calling on his supporters to jubilate. We clearly understand that to be a dog whistle for people to get out on the streets. That is what is transpiring here. Number three, he's also making comments to undermine the work of state institutions, including the Electoral Commission and the military. And the government needs to respond to these at this particular moment. He's also making comments aimed at attacking the work of the Ghanaian media in this election, attacking your reportage and your analysis and other things that you are doing. And we think it's important that these matters are responded to right now, especially at this time in the election. And he's making false allegations that the military of the Republic of Ghana is involved in efforts to change results and subvert the will of the Ghanaian people. So we will speak specifically to some of these issues, and then we will take questions and respond to them. Now, first of all, the claim by candidate Mahama that his party has won parliamentary majority is false. That claim is false. Anybody who has followed Ghana's electoral process knows that there are returning officers at the 275 constituencies. That's different from the returning officer for the presidential election. These returning officers collate the results and make a formal declaration of who has won the constituency. The Ghanaian media is littered across all 275 constituencies and their collation centers. You are the ones who are reporting this election. If indeed anybody has gained 140 seats in parliament by now, you will know. Wouldn't you know? You will clearly know. So we do not think that, first of all, it lies in any candidate's mouth. Yes, we understand the political parties and their campaigns throw out numbers and explain where they are in their own coalition, etc. We've seen pictures from both sides and press tours. But a claim by Mr. Mahama that his party has won parliamentary majority is false. You, the media, are observing at all the 275 coalition centers across the country. And I'm sure you yourself can confirm, as at now, that they do not have a parliamentary majority. So it is important that at this point in time, this claim be shut down, so that the Ghanaian public, some of whom may be going to bed tonight, the international community listening, doesn't start getting that idea that Mr. Mahama's party has won a parliamentary majority. I think the figures, as are being collated by the Electoral Commission and being declared, are quite clear. The last one I saw the media putting out, not what we the parties are, the media putting out, was about 227 constituencies. And the details were there about who has won what. So please do not be deceived by any candidate, especially candidate Mahama at this point in time, that his party has won parliamentary majority. That's item number one that we need to tell the people of Ghana and the international community about. Item number two is a dangerous matter. This dog whistle to supporters by the candidate that they should jubilate. And we are clear. This is a dog whistle to people to get out on the streets and jubilate. Now, first of all, we are happy that this call has largely not been heeded by the Ghanaian public. As you monitor the countryside, largely, this call has not been heeded. Because the Ghanaian people are discerning and can see through some of the games on election night that candidates play. But we think it must be categorically said that it is utterly irresponsible and it flies in the face of good conduct and even the peace pact that the candidates signed a few days ahead of the election. I want to show you the true nature of some of these candidates. The peace pact that the candidates signed, I think President Akufo-Addo, Mr. Mahama, I think there were other parties that got a rep or so to sign, witnessed by the Chief Justice of the Republic. It says that you acknowledge and you commit to the following. A, that the remaining rounds of campaign sequel to the general election shall be conducted with decorum. B, that we shall monitor and keep in check the excesses of our supporters as and when they get out of line. Now you have candidates rather egging their supporters on after they have signed this peace pact, egging their supporters on to jubilate. And I'm explaining to you that nobody is a kid in this country. That is dog whistle for get out there and celebrate. They go on, that they hereby commit themselves and supporters to continue to conduct their campaigns in a peaceful manner, that they undertake to accept the results of the election and concede to the winner accordingly. Then they commit to a number of things in it. After signing this, you now have candidate Mahama himself, not his campaign or his party. Those ones, you understand the party portion. But now you have the candidate himself asking his supporters that they have a right to jubilate. And like I've said to you, it's a dog whistle for asking them to go out. We want to, as a government of Ghana, strongly urge all candidates to desist from such conduct. It has the potential to raise tensions, to heighten anxiety, and most importantly, it will leave your supporters severely disappointed if and when an eventual loss is occasioned for you. And so we think that the responsible thing to do as a government at this point in time is to call it out and let the public know, don't fall for that. Item number 3. As you are aware, Ghana has had about 8 successful elections since the 1992 Constitution was rolled out. The Electoral Commission has a proven track record of successfully conducting elections. This EC has come under a barrage of criticisms from this particular candidate. But as we can all attest to, so far, the exercise of this election has generally, the part conducted by the EC has generally been smooth. No candidate should at this stage get into this exercise of seeking to undermine the work of the EC. It is most irresponsible, and it would endanger the peace of this country. Now, another matter worth speaking to is the attack on the media. Again, if you listen to the candidate's commentary, and the commentary by, I think, the General Secretary of his party immediately following afterwards, they are now attacking the Ghanaian media, that you are now in the business of churning out fake results. I'm sure you heard that you are now in the business of churning out fake results. Everybody knows that the media in Ghana, independent, experienced in observing elections at collation centers, does the simple exercise of bringing in the numbers and doing the analysis. And this election, let's commend the Ghanaian media. Many of you have invested in software that allows you to do interesting analysis, do comparisons, etc. You are beginning to notice, just like what the outgoing president of the US of A has been doing. Candidate Mahama is now suggesting that the numbers that the Ghanaian media are churning out and the collation that the Ghanaian media is beginning to do, which you have done in previous elections, are false and are fake. And we think that, again, it is important to call it out. This is not the first time that you see a candidate begin to make such allegations when they know something that maybe the rest of the population don't know. And that's why I cited the example of the US, where the US president, who is outgoing now, consistently been attacking the media as being fake news, enemies of the people, etc., etc. We're beginning to observe a bit of it here. And we think it's important not to let it slide, but to draw your attention to this. Now, again, another claim is being introduced into the conversation, and it's important to draw the country's attention to it, that Mr. Mahama's party says that it has won majority of the regions, and therefore it can extrapolate that it ought to win the presidential election. For the avoidance of doubt, we need to remind everybody of what the rules of engagement are and what the facts are. The rules of engagement is in Article 63, Clause 3 of the Constitution 1992. And I'll read you just a little bit of it. It says, a person shall not be elected as the president of Ghana unless at the presidential election, the number of votes cast in his favor is more than 50% of the total number of valid votes cast at the election. It has absolutely nothing to do with the regions that you claim or you purport to have won. The constitutional provision of who wins a presidential election is in Article 63, Clause 3. Please take time and read it and educate the Ghanaian public that if any candidate comes to tell you that he thinks that he has won a region which he thinks is big, therefore he should be the next president, or a collection of regions. Ghana's election is not an electoral college like what happens in the US. Ghana's election, in accordance with Article 63, Clause 3, is simple. You have to win 50% plus 1 of the votes for the presidential election. And so please, this misinformation or disinformation that is being introduced into the Ghanaian election as it goes on is important that we call it out so that the general public does not fall for it and begin to correlate that, oh, therefore, if this person wins X number of regions, then he should be declared president. No, there's an exercise for doing that, and that exercise, we understand, is being done by the Electoral Commission. In conclusion, the Electoral Commission has proven, I think over the last 8 elections, it has the capacity to do that which it's doing. We want to urge the general Ghanaian population and all other stakeholders to remain calm, to remain vigilant, yes, and to follow the EC's processes and the updates that the EC will give us, and not be moved by comments now by a presidential candidate to do otherwise. And this is what we believe the government ought to put out at this stage in the election tonight. I'll do a quick summary in tree, and then I will take your questions. If we're in church, I will say, and you are no adofo. And you may yada mo asese monya brena mo hia ye wa ha sei. Na mom ye frem wa ha e nsembe mienu miensa bi. Mi fi ase no mi kire mu se de enti a me na me gina ha kasa ne se me Minister of Information. But abatwe me so na me ye candidate. Kasa me kan enye partisan asem na me ka. Ghana ban e na e kasa e na esi mi so se me e na me kasa ma Ghana ban. De enti a nyubre Ghana ban e ne oman ni di nkomo ne se presidential candidates ne baako John Mahama ababo nten be central phone hiem be donhwere baako ne fa ana be donhwere baako ni na okekansem bi ansem no aban susu enye NPP party aban and the entire meeting ne say there's a difference between me as candidate and me as Minister of Information for the Republic. Ghana aban susu say we say ye ka ho asem bi o say ono ne party enye majority of parliament o say ne supporters emfiase enyomani eno e kasakwa de o kan so omuntin singu krom enji omani nye dede se omadi nkunim o say EC no e kataso muamuaso asesa election results no na soldier for krampo ka ho bi na onim Ghana bakosem asansem we say be yentoto na se ensem a wotepe e wo se yetu eho anamo na say na Ghana ban ese wo sansem we ho de edi kan se presidential candidate bi anase John Mahama ese ne party winning parliamentary majority a pacho e mogo sabre the entire mogo ni say Ghana parliamentary elections you were returning officers were 275 collation centers more central phone nyina more nkofo 275 collation centers obi obedi nkunim bi ha mo arambo ho dawuru anabeboa enti say sabre so obi a winning parliamentary majority 140 a senka ba na omo mo kan ama ye nyina ayate Mumpo amowo 275 obi de otifi on de hu ye ba mu amowo 275 collation centers no mu krampo mu hu ye nkan ti se candidate bi ba be kasa senehu mogo etoso mienu kasa ko na ode ma na chitafo se omuntin sikrom enye dede nyi omani no se ukan peace pact nanu ya omukọ sign wo na campaign na moving pick John Mahama Mampani Akufo-Addo the chief justice o nyina de omsabe sha ase ese sabre ya ye kwa koto abeya na se abato obrisi eniyembe bia wachitafo krampo ya ebetumi di oye ne aba no wo krampo no wo de wonsa shekrata ase se ubetu omfo ahwema omate asan mo manye sade se se de John Mahama na one ne mpanimfo hye omachita for kutu pasa omunti insikum de ye den say omukan no so de wani hwe kruma obi anhye den ne akire ye boga na fo abaso nemom e wo se ye bo mu kokko se sa abrei yisi mpanimfo keke omo ne ma bom no so obi petu be catcher candidate petu be catcher say tisi krom ye emu ayuram kakra isa an say ebetumi e detention akosoro yeti asese campaigns mienu na woman na we afre central for na we afre central for no bi aka na sem na sa fi candidate na nkasa be kasa no ana say ntinka we okan na nka o mampani akufo ado ana say obi fufuro so candidate ne kasa e detention e be kosoro ebio de ya wo ho krampo ni say so we your supporters say na be ba no wadi nkugu a o makoma bete eno ade a ye bokoko etwe obi adwen e ba begina so so obeka ya Ghana ya to ababaye mpren wotwe since I ba 1992 democratic dispensation yimu isi wa kire se onim nadwuma ye parties to mini nya semba wa kire se onim nadwuma ye but say adwuma yi e koso sabre yedu ni mpempensuo yi na candidate ankasa etutu bi mani isi no suggest okay can sem to say isi person dani figures no na soldier for crack ho ne ade no e ade e wo say ye tudin ye tumre kire si no bia hu say enya sempa e wo say obi a edi akire ebio se okaseti agane media say mo se entro na moody figures na mo bobo na entro na moody Ghana bato ye di ye kire media imu na mo ba bia mutumi hwehwem na mutumi ebeka so ya kan wo polling station we di nkunim we di nkugo na mo akeka bom afie we kra de matoto computers ni software ye hwe twi ni brofo a mugina ho na mo point trotro wo so kire se modwuma na kɔ nanim afa mo na yewura mahama kire se de amoka na nye nokore ye pese obi ate ase se saa suban we eti se US man pani yewura Trump obedi nkugo no afi o se central for no omno time oman no omno ye fake media ne nkeka ho ne ade ti obi ama na ni na ho na sansem na yewura mahama ne campaign ka fa central for ho no central for mabom ho modern saa election we say bone e wo se bom abaso na nye se yetwemo aboso and sana maminka bibimfa sa allegations about the media about the military yewura mahama wa Ghana man penida a former Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, the immediate past Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. Ono na sabre otwe Ghana bambo for annual form. Ona sabre okeka nsem so omo na omudina collation centers ebo ama yewiem enye no kreba kokkrada. Ye nyina enim nhihye ne mra eda election. Ukofa ballot boxer. Police for na soldier for wo ho kwan say omode their protocol friend the minimum amount of force and I say the requisite amount of force estopo nti so obi akofa ballot box na oma bonituo ana obi mu attack collation center na say police for ni soldier for a prevent them from getting there kwan say obekọ akogina say candidate na nkasa na press conference etwe military any bambo for na boso ya dey dangerous esan say the baby a omno mbebo ye ho ban ebi o say ye bom kokko ansa na de twato yewura mahama ne party ka asem bi say omo susun say wini regions ba ya henom kan 10 regions enti omo susun wini 10 regions wo say wini presidential no by the way presidential no omo ntumi nka ho asem so far omo kan no de atete but omo start introducing common say omo susun say wini 10 regions enti wo say wini presidential no. So we can Ghana Mrakuni Constitution Article 63 Clause 3. O can pay face says so person odi o mampenia. Also winning 50% plus 1 of presidential votes in your regions. Mr. Ghana election and your US your friend say electoral college there ni aka say region way call say inti say and I say David. The number of votes in fact anything na we parliamentary votes we calculating in here. AWM say TV network back mo calculate parliamentary votes abanyina and most party projected say Omampeni party no NPP would have won about 53.8% of the parliamentary votes even though parliamentary seats but anything na ohwe no abon say parliamentary votes no obehu say numbers no akwa ni so obi be catch ra say osusu say we win regions 10 inti yamfa presidency ni mana Mr. Hussein si who enya no kre enya no kreba akokrada ti o say yetumi eka ho asema obia ete ne ho ase ye be sre Ghana phone nyina se na ye di ehuni dodo na di omhuni no ye nkoso nye ne saa isi be ye omadwuma omo wi ade ombeka no I will say candidate bia titiri wa do nsa ko share krata we ase no I will say udi so say on my papa me say Manuato we'll take your questions. Where's the other microphone? We'll take your questions and then quickly respond to them. I wish I could speak another language, but I'm not good in Hausa. All I can say is Yayade, Lafialo. That's all I can say. So if you have questions, I'm happy to take your questions. Any question in English or in Twi, I'm happy to take them. Yes, madam.
Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Patron India Majinfa, Liejma Atinka Media Village.
Yeah, ma.
Patron said the elections nature NPP headquarters near Oho, there 2 hours ago. Anna in Penifona or Honum Barco, a microphone. I can't say, Nanado Danko Kufado in your call, John Mahama, and a friend or congratulating.
Penny Bene can't say
seriously speaking, me penny anything. And then penny phony be. But more when you been a coffee microphone.
Party supporter be coffee microphone.
Supporter. I don't know who the person is, but that announcement nearby in Tusha, Mampinida John Mahama, Abra Okasan. That was the first thing. Or can say on free BI, on concede BBI. Into Bachoni Busa say, even though you are speaking as government and as political party, you are responding to some of the things that John Mahama said. Then soon you bet in your catch and you call who chita for him penny say. The way almost say months or making sure say they are prepared and they know what they are saying so they are.
Matthias, first of all, me say MPP Kuno and Yenimnipo Kasama campaign no. Me am a former boss, Yura Hamid, on a Kasama campaign. Me say Wakasa Assembly. MPP Penny Bian cancer. And this is what say MPP supporter Biako for Michael Baby. I can say John Mahama friend and Akufuadwa. Messenger also say Minia Centroni. Nebia why cause Kakrebi Sem say no cry now say and no cry. Na ye to me the no Ayajuma. Then Ebeme wants to say and me sure say John Mahama Krabeka say the entire press conference is because Obi EPK Mike or MPP headquarters can say yes we are free Oman Penny. Me sure. They are me say say candidates be mienu but Yura Mahama can be candidates be mienu na matter say so my friend Oman Penny but yen as a buying yen kasa MPP campaign so en kasa anti pacho tie no a mugu process ne koso na EC be na juma. Pacho, is there any other question? Yes sir. You can shout your question from there, don't worry. Okay. Kesben, some more reporters across the country. What are your reporters telling you? It is a candidate we will now because on 140. I can't try MPP 4 year on press conference. So I'm going to call on data center, could be on computer, until then, can be any baby on data center. I'm the Moko could be a suture. This will be the Nano because, yea, Mania 140. Sabe, Munim baby results, returning officers, no, declare one 10 day a mogu. Pacho Obi was in Bisafrana. Then I'll make a last comment. This claim that when somebody votes presidential, he votes the same way parliamentary. First of all, there is evidence to the effect that it is not true. There are a number of constituencies in which people voted skirt and blouse. I think Akwetia is one. I understand Winchi is another constituency. Hoho is another constituency where the MPP candidate won, but the president did not win. So there's no correlation between somebody's vote for a parliamentary candidate and that of a presidential candidate. If it's coincidental, the candidates can thank God. But there's no correlation between the two. And there's evidence that there are constituencies that vote skirt and blouse. So it is important to let you know that if anybody starts throwing this into the air, it is something you must educate your audiences about. Say, because evidence naturally say in many other or in a good number of constituencies that wasn't the case. So, colleagues, are we done? It's going to be a long night, as we suspect it will be. I won't take too much of your time. I want to thank you for coming, even at short notice. Thank you so much.